Behind the velvet ropes, this modern coliseum demands absolute perfection, and the ultimate penalty for a fractured facade is total exile. Within this definitive archive of Hollywood scandals, Hollywood stars and scars investigates the brutal overnight transition from untouchable global icon to industry pariah. But what happens when a revered, Oscar-winning titan is digitally annihilated from a completed multi-million-dollar blockbuster in a matter of weeks, completely vanishing from cinema history, as if he never existed?
Behind the glitter, the scars remain. Welcome to Hollywood Stars and Scars.
Number 20. Russell Brand. Bursting onto the international scene with chaotic charisma, Russell Brand engineered an image as Hollywood's most lucrative rebel. Throughout the late 2000s, his eccentric rock star persona dominated blockbuster comedies and sold-out arenas. Radiating a manic magnetism, he commanded multi-million-dollar studio contracts, cultivating a global fan base that viewed his boundary-pushing antics as pure genius. The industry rewarded his disruptive brand with endless red carpets, framing him as a cultural phenomenon who could break every rule and still secure top billing. That carefully curated illusion violently shattered in late 2023, when a joint investigation by major British media outlets published a devastating exposé. Journalists unearthed a disturbing timeline spanning his peak years from 2006 to 2013, detailing severe allegations of psychological manipulation and predatory abuse. The narrative immediately shifted from harmless eccentricity to a catastrophic PR crisis. Paparazzi flashes were replaced by stark journalistic headlines, while former studio allies remained entirely silent as the sheer magnitude of the historical claims saturated global news cycles. Despite broadcasting fierce denials and alleging a coordinated media conspiracy, the corporate execution of his empire was absolute. Elite management agencies severed their ties overnight, publishing houses halted his book deals, and platforms like YouTube entirely stripped his lucrative channels of monetization. Banished from mainstream infrastructure, the former box office titan retreated into a shrinking digital exile. The chaotic rebellion that once guaranteed his cinematic supremacy ultimately became the exact architect of his unceremonious public erasure. Number 19. Roseanne Barr. For decades, this unapologetic matriarch of working-class television reigned as an undisputed broadcast titan, transforming blue-collar grit into massive syndicated wealth. Her 2018 industry resurrection was nothing short of miraculous, boasting a highly publicized sitcom reboot that completely shattered modern Nielsen ratings and commanded tens of millions of loyal weekly viewers. Flanked by flashing premiere cameras, primetime promotional banners, and the absolute financial backing of a colossal Disney-owned network, she wielded the ultimate Hollywood leverage as an untouchable legacy star. Yet that impenetrable corporate armor dissolved in mere seconds under the weight of a catastrophic late-night digital choice. By publishing a racially charged social media attack against a former presidential advisor, she ignited an instantaneous, devastating PR crisis that terrified advertisers and immediately paralyzed studio executives. Within hours of the digital uproar, the boardroom executed an unprecedented crisis protocol, ruthlessly severing her from the #1 comedy show on network television. The studio executives systematically stripped her name from the marquee, legally isolated her from the lucrative intellectual property, and launched a sanitized spin-off narrative that coldly killed off her once-beloved character. Former co-stars swiftly retreated behind carefully crafted PR statements, abandoning her to navigate a complete, inescapable industry blackout alone. Stripped of her historic broadcast throne and multi-million-dollar royalties, her legacy was permanently rewritten from a groundbreaking pioneer to a toxic corporate liability. In the ruthless theater of network television, an untouchable legacy is always one unforgivable keystroke away from permanent erasure. Number 18. Lori Loughlin. For decades, she anchored the television landscape as the ultimate symbol of maternal warmth and wholesome family values, cementing her enduring legacy as the beloved aunt on a global sitcom phenomenon. She successfully pivoted this immaculate public branding into a highly lucrative sanctuary as the leading lady of the Hallmark Channel. Network executives confidently viewed her as a fail-safe financial investment, a pristine beacon of traditional morality, whose glowing red carpet appearances and consistently massive ratings generated an aura of untouchable American perfection. That meticulously constructed sanctuary violently collapsed under the weight of a massive federal indictment in March 2019, exposing a staggering underworld of elite celebrity privilege. Operation Varsity Blues dismantled her wholesome facade overnight, definitively revealing that she and her husband had funneled $500,000 in illicit backdoor payments to fabricate athletic recruitment profiles for their 2 daughters. The ensuing visual whiplash was absolutely jarring. The quintessential television icon was suddenly splashed across merciless tabloid front pages, awkwardly juxtaposed alongside damning FBI wiretap transcripts and grim, humiliating courthouse sketches. As public outrage rapidly mounted over the brazen manipulation of higher education, the resulting corporate execution was swift, brutal, and absolute. Hallmark immediately severed all lucrative ties, scrubbing her unreleased projects from their broadcast schedule, while her historic legacy was permanently rebranded from beloved sitcom matriarch to convicted federal inmate. The pristine maternal image was ultimately pawned off for a fraudulent collegiate acceptance letter, proving that even the most heavily sanitized Hollywood reputations can rot from the inside out. Number 17. Chris Noth. For decades, Chris Noth commanded the screen as a veteran star of the global television phenomenon Sex and the City, embodying a level of career power and fame that few actors ever achieve. On red carpets before flashing paparazzi lights, his public image of effortless charisma and perfect branding made him an undisputed icon of Hollywood sophistication. This golden era culminated in his highly anticipated, triumphant return to the spotlight in the 2021 spin-off And Just Like That, a revival designed to celebrate his legacy. However, this flawless facade fractured overnight as a devastating PR crisis erupted and shattered his world. Almost immediately after his return to the screen, multiple women came forward simultaneously to accuse the veteran actor of past sexual assault and abuse. The public pressure and industry panic were swift and absolute, sparking a rapid media crisis. Major brands quickly pulled their lucrative ad campaigns, and his management agency terminated his contract, leaving his career suspended in a high-stakes emergency. The final blow landed when producers systematically edited Noth's character completely out of the show's finale, executing a total erasure of his presence. This unprecedented move cemented his blacklisted status, turning a triumphant comeback into a sudden career collapse and an unrecognizable legacy. In the cold, unforgiving reality of the modern entertainment industry, a lifetime of carefully built glamour can be permanently deleted in a single post-production edit. Number 16. Allison Mack. As Chloe Sullivan on the hit television series Smallville, Allison Mack projected the ultimate wholesome girl-next-door persona, earning the absolute adoration of millions of television viewers worldwide. On glittering red carpets and in packed fan conventions, her bright, innocent smile and clean public image defined her as a rising Hollywood starlet with immense industry promise. Her flawless branding and relatable charm established a powerful career foundation, positioning her as a highly respected role model for an entire generation of young fans. Behind the cameras, however, a hidden life exposed a dark reality that completely shattered this pristine image and sent shockwaves through the global entertainment industry. Investigative reports and federal court files eventually unmasked the beloved television actress as a central, high-ranking leader within the manipulative NXIVM sex cult. The sudden public revelation triggered an immediate, devastating PR crisis and widespread public outrage as secret details of manipulation, blackmail, and systematic exploitation came to light under the relentless media spotlight. In 2021, the American legal system delivered its final judgment, sentencing Mack to 3 years in federal prison for racketeering, extortion, and conspiracy to commit sex trafficking. This devastating conviction permanently blacklisted her from the industry, converting a highly celebrated television legacy into one of the darkest scandals in modern broadcasting history. Real power in the spotlight is a fragile illusion, easily shattered when the hidden horrors of a double life are dragged into the cold courtroom light. Number 15. Gina Carano. As a formidable former mixed martial artist turned breakout action star, Gina Carano achieved a spectacular ascent to the heights of Hollywood power. Her breakout role as a highly beloved warrior in the Star Wars blockbuster series The Mandalorian earned her massive critical acclaim and the passionate devotion of a global fandom. With red carpets celebrating her unique athletic prowess and a highly promising future in a multi-billion-dollar franchise, she stood at the pinnacle of industry branding and mainstream applause. However, this carefully constructed ascent fractured entirely in early 2021 when a destructive cycle of social media posts triggered a devastating PR crisis. Carano repeatedly shared highly controversial commentary regarding global pandemic policies and American political divisions, ignoring quiet warning signs of growing studio discomfort. The boiling point arrived when she shared a post comparing the polarized domestic political atmosphere to the Holocaust, instantly igniting an intense public backlash and widespread media outrage. Studio giant Lucasfilm moved with swift, clinical precision, immediately terminating her contract and publicly declaring they had no future plans to collaborate with her. This absolute corporate exile instantly halted her rapid ascent, turning her highly celebrated Star Wars legacy into a stark warning about the fragility of modern stardom. In the unforgiving ecosystem of corporate entertainment, a single digital transmission can instantly erase a lifetime of physical triumph. Number 14. Danny Masterson. For years, Danny Masterson reigned as a highly charismatic cornerstone of primetime television comedy, capturing immense global fame as a beloved star on the hit sitcom That 70s Show. Under the glowing red carpet lights and constant paparazzi flashes, his effortless, cool, and perfect branding projected an image of an untouchable, rising Hollywood power. Fans and industry executives alike celebrated his sharp comedic timing, ensuring his golden presence remained a constant, comforting fixture in millions of households across the globe. Behind the infectious laugh tracks, however, a hidden life exposed a dark reality that would trigger an irreversible, devastating PR crisis. The first public cracks in his flawless facade appeared in 2017, when serious allegations of past sexual assault from the early 2000s prompted a formal, high-stakes investigation. As industry panic mounted, Netflix executives executed a swift and public severance, immediately firing the actor from his prominent role in the series The Ranch. As the media spotlight intensified, the unfolding legal drama culminated in 2023 when a court of law handed down a definitive conviction sentencing the former sitcom icon to 30 years to life in prison. This final judicial reckoning solidified his absolute blacklist from the entertainment industry, reducing a once celebrated legacy to total ruin and public collapse. The loudest television laugh tracks can never drown out the silent, heavy gavel of justice. Number 13. Jussie Smollett. As a breakout star of the critically acclaimed massive television hit Empire, Jussie Smollett represented the absolute pinnacle of contemporary Hollywood success and cultural influence. And, under the dazzling, relentless glare of red carpet flashbulbs, his smooth charisma, undeniable talent, and impeccable branding made him a highly celebrated icon of modern entertainment. Millions of passionate viewers adored his magnetic presence, while key industry executives lauded his rapid rise as a powerful symbol of artistic triumph and creative power. This brilliant trajectory shattered in early 2019 when a devastating PR crisis erupted, exposing a shocking underbelly of the destructive cycle of fame. Smollett orchestrated a highly publicized fabricated hate crime against himself, falsely claiming he was the victim of a brutal, racist, and homophobic attack. As local law enforcement investigators pulled back the layers of his elaborate deception, it became clear the staging was a desperate ploy to artificially boost his celebrity status and demand a higher salary. The legal and professional consequences of this calculated betrayal were absolute, permanently blacklisting him from the very industry that once embraced his talent. Fired from the cast of Empire and sentenced to a prison term, Smollett watched his once glamorous world collapse into total public ruin and irreversible disgrace. In the cold geometry of Hollywood's elite circles, a manufactured tragedy designed to buy more spotlight will only secure a permanent exile in the dark. Number 12. Amber Heard. Adorned in designer couture under the dazzling glare of global spotlights, Amber Heard once epitomized the ultimate Hollywood siren, capturing immense public adoration and significant career power. Her striking presence on high-profile red carpets and her central role in multi-billion-dollar blockbusters positioned her as a highly celebrated force in the entertainment industry. She possessed an enviable public image, perfect commercial branding, and the unwavering backing of powerful studio executives who saw her as a premier leading lady of her generation. This brilliant illusion fractured completely in 2022 when a highly publicized global defamation trial with her ex-husband Johnny Depp transformed her life into a devastating PR crisis. For weeks, the cold realities of their toxic relationship were laid bare in a Virginia courtroom, dissected by millions in a relentless live-streamed media spectacle. As the public pressure mounted and the digital landscape turned fiercely hostile, her once flawless public image cracked irreparably under the weight of damaging testimony and leaked recordings. The catastrophic defeat in the blockbuster legal battle forced Heard to pay millions in damages and stripped her of all support from major filmmakers. Now permanently blacklisted from mainstream cinema, she quietly abandoned the toxic machinery of Hollywood, relocating to Spain to live a secluded life largely absent from major motion pictures. In the unforgiving theater of modern fame, the transition from celebrated screen goddess to a lonely exile is but one courtroom verdict away. Archival reels show a haunting pattern. The nervous glance, the sudden camera evasion, the microscopic fractures in a polished persona before the scandal ever breaks. We dissect the final public explosion, yet the decay always begins in the quiet, unedited frames of unaddressed human pressure. Extreme celebrity extracts a steep psychological tax, often breeding a dangerous delusion of absolute corporate immunity. This systematic erosion reveals that when boundaries dissolve under the blinding lights, accountability is merely delayed, never erased. The next reel exposes another titan who mistook studio silence for permanent protection. Number 11. Ezra Miller. Ezra Miller once represented the absolute avant-garde future of global blockbuster cinema, possessing a rare, highly mesmerizing talent that captured the total awe of both critics and audiences alike. As the physical embodiment of the iconic comic book speedster The Flash in the multi-billion-dollar DC universe, and a standout star in the acclaimed Fantastic Beasts franchise, Miller's rising career power appeared entirely limitless. Glittering red carpets celebrated their boundary-pushing fashion choices, while elite studio executives enthusiastically lauded their unique artistic vision, secure branding, and magnetic box office potential. However, this brilliant multi-franchise ascent fractured violently during a highly turbulent period between 2022 and 2023, as a devastating PR crisis erupted across the globe. Police reports and official court files soon exposed a chaotic, hidden life, detailing a sequence of serious legal troubles that completely stunned their global fan base. Severe accusations of physical assault, public disorderly conduct, theft, and the alleged grooming and manipulation of minors emerged under a relentless media spotlight, triggering massive public pressure and intense studio panic. While the studio finally chose to release the high-budget blockbuster The Flash in 2023, the severe, ongoing industry backlash left Miller's future career in Hollywood completely frozen. This high-profile theatrical release could not salvage an unrecognizable public image, resulting in an absolute career collapse and deep personal isolation. The fastest hero on the silver screen could never outrun the crushing gravity of a real-world downfall. Archival reels show a haunting pattern. The nervous glance, the sudden camera evasion, the microscopic fractures in a polished persona before the scandal ever breaks. We dissect the final public explosion, yet the decay always begins in the quiet, unedited frames of unaddressed human pressure. Extreme celebrity extracts a steep psychological tax, often breeding a dangerous delusion of absolute corporate immunity. This systematic erosion reveals that when boundaries dissolve under the blinding lights, accountability is merely delayed, never erased. The next reel exposes another titan who mistook studio silence for permanent protection. Number 10. Jonathan Majors. Jonathan Majors once stood as the absolute crown jewel of Hollywood's next generation, uniquely designated to command the multi-billion-dollar Marvel Cinematic Universe as its ultimate antagonist, Kang the Conqueror, for the upcoming decade. On glittering red carpets and major magazine covers, his powerful physical presence, intense dramatic talent, and immaculate public branding projected an image of an unstoppable cinematic force. Major studios and global audiences celebrated his meteoric rise, cementing his position at the very pinnacle of mainstream industry power and prestigious critical acclaim. This monumental trajectory fractured with terrifying speed in late 2023, when a devastating domestic PR crisis shattered his carefully curated world. A New York court of law convicted the rising superstar of assault and harassment against his former girlfriend, instantly sparking an immense wave of public pressure and corporate panic. As intense media coverage laid bare the uncomfortable details of the high-profile courtroom trial, his immaculate public image dissolved overnight, under the cold glare of relentless global scrutiny. The professional retaliation was swift, clinical, and total, resulting in an immediate, absolute blacklisting across the entire entertainment ecosystem. Marvel Studios instantly terminated his lucrative multi-film contract. His premier management agency summarily fired him, and a wave of major upcoming film projects rapidly erased his name from their rosters. In the cold mathematics of modern studio franchises, the boundary between a cinematic dynasty and complete professional exile can evaporate in the strike of a single judicial gavel. Number 9. Kevin Spacey. With 2 prestigious Academy Awards for The Usual Suspects and American Beauty, Kevin Spacey commanded unmatched reverence as one of the most brilliant dramatic actors of his generation. His mesmerizing portrayal of Frank Underwood in House of Cards redefined television, helping the series earn over 30 Emmy nominations during his acclaimed tenure. As the influential artistic director of London's historic Old Vic Theatre, Spacey operated at the absolute zenith of industry power, enveloped in global red carpet applause, perfect branding, and elite prestige. This majestic kingdom dissolved overnight in October 2017, when a devastating, highly publicized PR crisis permanently shattered his impeccable public standing. Actor Anthony Rapp publicly accused the star of historical misconduct, instantly unleashing a torrent of over 20 additional allegations from former theater staff members. In the ensuing corporate panic, Netflix immediately severed ties and removed him from his flagship show, while director Ridley Scott took the unprecedented step of completely erasing Spacey from All the Money in the World, reshooting his scenes just 6 weeks before the theatrical release. Despite later securing legal victories in subsequent courtroom trials, including a notable acquittal in his 2023 London trial, the industry's refusal to restore Spacey left his career completely blacklisted. His public presence diminished significantly, leaving his once unassailable legacy permanently reduced to low-budget international films that attracted very limited attention. Even the most brilliant, Oscar-winning artistry cannot survive the sudden freezing vacuum of absolute corporate abandonment. Number 8. Shia LaBeouf. Breaking out as a daytime Emmy-winning child star on the Disney Channel before skyrocketing to global fame, Shia LaBeouf once represented the absolute pinnacle of young Hollywood power. As the magnetic leading force of the multi-billion-dollar Transformers franchise and a pivotal star in massive blockbusters like Indiana Jones and Fury, his raw, intense, dramatic talent earned him immense critical acclaim. On flashing red carpets and under the gaze of elite directors, his versatile performances and perfect commercial branding positioned him as an untouchable premier leading man. Behind this golden facade, however, a destructive cycle of personal instability and legal troubles gradually began to overshadow his artistic achievements. A series of highly publicized arrests for disorderly conduct and public intoxication culminated in a devastating turning point in December 2020, when musician FKA Twigs filed a shocking lawsuit. This intense court filing exposed a dark reality of alleged physical assault, emotional manipulation, and psychological abuse, triggering an immediate, devastating PR crisis and severe public backlash that shattered his public standing. The consequences of this legal reckoning were swift and absolute, leaving his career completely fractured, as major Hollywood studios rapidly distanced themselves from his name. High-profile projects in active development were quietly abandoned, permanently blacklisting him from mainstream cinema and limiting him to small, low-budget independent films, like 2022's Padre Pio. In the unforgiving crucible of modern stardom, even the most brilliant artistic range cannot shield an icon from the cold exile of a hidden life exposed. Number 7. Armie Hammer. Born into immense generational wealth and possessing a striking, handsome appearance, Armie Hammer epitomized the ultimate Hollywood blue blood. His breakout dual performance as the Winklevoss twins in the critically acclaimed blockbuster The Social Network, and his deeply nuanced, emotionally deep portrayal of Oliver in the Oscar-nominated masterpiece Call Me By Your Name, secured his position at the pinnacle of young industry power. On glittering red carpets, surrounded by constant paparazzi flashes and prestigious critical applause, his immaculate branding and sophisticated public image promised an endless, highly celebrated career. This flawless high society facade fractured with terrifying velocity in early 2021, when a devastating PR crisis exposed a dark, hidden life. Shocking leaked screenshots of private messages detailing highly disturbing and violent sexual behavior circulated rapidly online, triggering widespread social media outrage and immediate industry panic. Within weeks, multiple women came forward with distressing accounts of manipulation, emotional abuse, and coercive sexual conduct, completely shattering his immaculate public image and bringing long-standing family secrets under a harsh global spotlight. The professional consequences were swift and absolute, as his elite talent agency WME summarily dropped him, and major studios recast his roles in prominent upcoming projects like Shotgun Wedding and The Offer. With his Hollywood career completely blacklisted and his family's dark history exposed to the world in a damning 2022 docuseries, reports confirmed the former A-list star retreated to the Cayman Islands to sell timeshares to support himself. In the cold reality of the modern entertainment ecosystem, the grandest illusions of privilege and marquee glamour can dissolve overnight, leaving only a ruined dynasty in their wake. Number 6. Cuba Gooding Jr. Ascending to the absolute heights of global cinematic prestige, Cuba Gooding Jr. became a definitive, beloved icon of 90s Hollywood, following his electrifying Academy Award-winning performance in Jerry Maguire, Garabapa. His legendary, high-energy Oscar acceptance speech, punctuated by the famous catchphrase, "Show me the money," instantly minted him as a major cultural sensation. Ba-da-ba-ba. Dazzling red carpets, a series of massive blockbusters like Men of Honor and Pearl Harbor, and continuous industry applause solidified his public image as an incredibly bankable, charismatic, and emotionally expressive leading powerhouse. However, this brilliant trajectory fractured completely in June 2019, when a shocking public arrest at a premier New York bar triggered a devastating, irreversible PR crisis. A woman formally accused the celebrated actor of non-consensual touching, igniting a rapid media firestorm and a severe public backlash. The legal situation escalated exponentially as prosecutors eventually indicted him on multiple counts, with more than 30 additional accusers coming forward with similar allegations of sexual abuse and misconduct under a relentless, unforgiving media spotlight. In 2022, Gooding ultimately avoided jail time by accepting a formal plea deal where he admitted to forcibly touching a woman, a legal resolution that deeply angered his accusers and left his mainstream standing permanently ruined. Baleba, now completely distanced from major studio productions, his fractured career collapsed into a quiet, secluded exile, restricting him to minor independent films and rare public appearances. Baleba, under the glittering, deceptively secure illusion of a golden Oscar trophy, a lifetime of cinematic triumph can be instantly reduced to a dark, cautionary tale of total professional displacement. Number 5. Paula Deen. During the golden era of her culinary dominance, Paula Deen reigned supreme as the undisputed, highly celebrated queen of American television cooking, commanding a massive business empire valued at millions of dollars. Under the flashing lights of relentless public admiration, her celebrated television presence and unique culinary expertise captured the adoration of millions of households across the nation. Her radiant public image, beautifully paired with immaculate commercial branding, secured her an endless stream of highly prestigious, lucrative opportunities, cementing her status as a powerful lifestyle titan. This wholesome, welcoming facade fractured instantly in 2013 during a highly publicized, devastating workplace lawsuit that triggered a massive PR crisis. In a shocking legal deposition, the television host admitted to using highly offensive racial slurs in the past. Furthermore, she confessed to discussing plans for an elaborate old plantation-style event featuring black servers, igniting immediate public pressure, intense corporate panic, and a severe, unstoppable wave of national outrage. The corporate retaliation was swift and absolute, completely blacklisting the former culinary icon from mainstream television within a matter of days. The Food Network immediately terminated her broadcast contract, while prominent major retail corporations scrambled to remove her entire product line from their shelves. Stripped of her lucrative sponsorship deals and facing a total public collapse, her once mighty empire was reduced to permanent ruin. In the brutal theater of modern media branding, a lifetime of carefully simulated warmth can be frozen forever by a single admitted prejudice. Number 4. Jennifer Grey. In the late 1980s, Jennifer Grey became the definitive, globally adored face of a cinematic generation, following her iconic portrayal of Baby in the multi-million-dollar blockbuster Dirty Dancing. On prestigious red carpets and in front of flashing paparazzi cameras, her natural expressiveness and unique distinctive features stood out as a breath of fresh air in an industry dominated by conventional standards. Nominated for a Golden Globe and showered with immense public applause, she possessed an enviable career momentum that positioned her as a highly celebrated, rising Hollywood leading lady with limitless potential. Yet a single irreversible cosmetic decision in the early 1990s instantly derailed this brilliant trajectory and triggered a devastating career crisis. Nova seeking to expand her casting opportunities after receiving repeated industry suggestions, Grey underwent a routine rhinoplasty, followed by a second corrective surgery. The medical procedures altered her appearance so drastically that even close acquaintances failed to recognize her new face, transforming her recognizable trademark look into what she later described as the ultimate surgical nightmare. Under the harsh media spotlight, the professional consequences of this altered physical identity were swift and absolute, as casting directors immediately struggled to place an actress who no longer resembled the star of a global phenomenon. Tabloid headlines relentlessly mocked her transformation as a cautionary tale of plastic surgery gone wrong, causing major film offers to dwindle to near nothingness and permanently halting her A-list status. In the deceptive house of mirrors that is the entertainment industry, a single modification designed to secure more roles can completely erase the very identity that captured the world's heart. Number 3. Megan Fox. Emerging as an international sensation almost overnight, Megan Fox captured the collective gaze of the global entertainment industry following her breathtaking breakout role in the 2007 blockbuster Transformers. Under the relentless blitz of paparazzi flashes and gracing dozens of prominent magazine covers, her striking physical presence and raw magnetic appeal established her as an influential, supreme symbol of modern Hollywood glamour. Megan major brand endorsements, constant red carpet applause, and the backing of powerful executives projected an endless, dominant reign at the very peak of mainstream cinema. This brilliant trajectory shattered abruptly in 2009 during a highly publicized, controversial interview with Wonderland magazine, sparking a sudden and devastating PR crisis that fractured her flawless public standing. Fox made the fateful decision to publicly criticize director Michael Bay, using highly polarizing phrases that compared his on-set demeanor to authoritarian figures like Hitler. The industry panic and public pressure were instantaneous. Executive producer Steven Spielberg objected vehemently to the extreme comparison, prompting the studio to summarily dismiss her from the highly anticipated third installment, Transformers: Dark of the Moon. In the wake of this swift dismissal, a highly critical open letter from crew members further damaged her professional reputation permanently, labeling her as a difficult actress to cast. This enduring narrative severely choked her career momentum, locking her out of major studio blockbusters for nearly a decade and restricting her to modest cult horror films and independent releases like Jennifer's Body. For Fox, the sudden transition from an untouchable global siren to a marginalized industry outcast proved how quickly the machinery of fame can discard those who dare to speak against its creators. Number 2. Thomas Gibson. Number 2. Cynthia Nixon, the real, authentic story of the star of... Number 2. Cynthia Nixon, the real... Number 2. Cynthia Nixon, the real... Star of... Number 2. Cynthia Nixon, the real... Star of... Number 2. Cynthia Nixon, the real... Star of... This decades-long legacy of television dominance shattered in August 2016 during a heated, high-stakes script dispute on the set. Accounts confirmed that Gibson allowed a sudden burst of anger to escalate a verbal argument, physically kicking a writer-producer during the altercation. Studio executives moved with swift, clinical severity, particularly because a previous shoving incident in 2010 had already forced him into anger management. Within days, ABC and CBS issued an absolute joint termination, abruptly writing his central character out of the series and triggering a massive, devastating PR crisis that completely cracked his professional image. The sudden firing permanently blacklisted Gibson from mainstream Hollywood, sending his highly celebrated television career into a freezing, irreversible decline. Following his abrupt exile, his casting opportunities evaporated, limiting him to a handful of minor, low-profile projects with extremely restricted distribution. Retreating into a quiet, heavily isolated life, far removed from the spotlight, he remains a frequently cited industry warning sign of how workplace conduct can destroy an empire. In the cold, unforgiving theater of television production, a lifetime of primetime devotion can be permanently erased by a single, uncontrolled reaction. Number 1. Will Smith. For more than 3 decades, Will Smith reigned supreme as one of the most powerful, undisputed box office superstars in Hollywood history. Under the dazzling, relentless glare of global spotlights and constant red carpet applause, his peerless charisma and perfect public branding made him an exceptionally beloved household name. He stood at the absolute pinnacle of cinematic success, a golden guarantee of theatrical power whose pristine public image appeared to be an unassailable, permanent monument of mainstream prestige and industry dominance. However, this flawless, carefully constructed facade shattered in a matter of seconds during the live global broadcast of the 2022 Academy Awards. Reacting to a comedian's controversial joke regarding his wife's shaved head, the superstar suddenly walked onto the glittering stage. In front of millions of stunned television viewers watching across the globe, he physically slapped presenter Chris Rock, instantly transforming a historic celebration of cinema into a devastating, shocking PR crisis that permanently cracked his pristine reputation. The consequences of this sudden public collapse were immediate, severe, and absolute, resulting in a dramatic and lasting fall from grace for the celebrated icon. The Academy handed down a strict 10-year ban from all official events, while major studios promptly paused a series of his prominent film projects. With his public support and approval dropping severely, his legendary career remains heavily shadowed by that single, uncontrolled physical confrontation. In the unforgiving theater of modern stardom, a lifetime of historic triumphs can be completely ruined in just a few seconds under the brightest spotlight. What remained was a career of sustained excellence, rather than the expanded Hollywood leading man path once expected. Confirmed through his own reflections, certain film doors narrowed, while stage work continued at the highest level. The consequences settled into a permanent recognition that authenticity carried measurable costs inside the film industry of that era, even as the Broadway legend status endured without collapse. The image of the indispensable comic actor held, yet the scars of that selective access. The red carpet eventually rolls up, leaving only the deafening silence of an empty auditorium and the irreversible toll of vanity. Perfection is an illusion paid for with a lifetime of paranoia, while the industry swiftly replaces those it shattered. To uncover more buried truths and analyze the most chilling Hollywood scandals, subscribe to Hollywood Stars and Scars. Join us as we unlock the classified archives the studios desperately tried to burn. Every masterpiece demands a sacrifice, and every star eventually bleeds.